Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I want to talk about Black Mirror, okay? Season 7. If you haven't already binge watched the season, baby, go do so and come back to your girl, okay? Now, a small confession. I never really finished a season of Black Mirror before, like prior to this. I only seen like 2 episodes, I want to say, sometime last year. So I really didn't know a lot about it. I say that because I know this current season, it was a continuation to a previous episode that was some seasons ago, baby. I ain't know nothing about that. I ain't know nothing about that. All I can tell you about is this current season. So let's talk about it. Let's start with the first episode, Common People. All right. So that was the one with the teacher and the guy. What was the guy doing? He was working at some type of like place. I don't know. Like, what is it? Like steel? I think it was like steel. He was like a steel place, a steel mill. I don't know. But it was a teacher and a husband. And she ended up getting diagnosed with a brain tumor, and they basically got to pull the plug on sis. And then here come Tracee Ellis Ross offering like a solution. She's like, hey, I'm on this thing called something. I forgot what she called it. I did not take no notes, but she was on this basically like the subscription plan. I think it was called Rivermind, right? I think it was called Rivermind. Let's call it Rivermind. And she was like, you can just take out this part of the tumor, insert this thing, and she's going to be as good as new. She's going to be her normal self. She's going to run on a subscription. It's monthly. I believe she said it'll only cost like $300 a month, maybe five. But I want to say she said it was, I want to say Tracee said it was $300 a month. And that they had towers like in this area, and they're gonna start slowly putting towers up in other areas and things like that. So of course, him wanting to keep his wife, he agreed to do it. And let me tell you about me. I don't know how you watch shows. I like to pause. I like to have a conversation because I be having so many questions. Like, wait, what? Like, and don't get me wrong. I know the TV cannot talk back, but I'd be like, carry the one. Like, I be doing the math. You see what I'm saying? I ask a lot of I would have had so many follow-up questions, Miss Tracee. I'm just saying, because I'm not gonna lie. Everything Tracee Ellis Ross said from that point on, I said it for her before he even went back to the office. Okay? When they tried to go out of town for their honeymoon, and she was like, oh, you just outside the radius. All you need to do is upgrade. Look, let me tell you. It would have took everything in me not to pull Tracee across that desk. Because what? And then do you know how much expensive they end up having to upgrade a plan just so she can go outside of town? Then they had to upgrade again because she started running ads because she was on the basic model. Then they had to upgrade again because she was sleeping a lot. So when you look at the amount of money they was spending to keep her alive, I'm pretty sure it was well up to $2,000, because last I checked with the upgraded basic plus or whatever package that was, honey, they was already at the 1,800 mark. They was already at the 1,800 mark. So that is somebody's mortgage, car notes, maybe overall monthly bills. And it's like, honestly, I kept waiting for them to sell the house. I was like, what? The first thing I would have done was sell or try to rent out that house. Me and Babe would have went and got a little piece of apartments, and we would have just started back until we was able to sustain the house. Like, I don't understand what is it with holding on to things that can be replaced. Like, I understand y'all ain't got it right now. We ain't got it right now. I mean, come on. Your wife had a brain tumor. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have did the same thing versus pulling that plug, which would have been cheaper. Because you end up taking her out of her misery anyway. And then it's like, look how much you became like in debt, how many years you spent, not to mention the embarrassment because I already knew that was going to happen. Everything that happened in this episode, I literally called up into the releasing her part. I didn't plan on him helping her get out of here. I knew it was going to happen, but I just thought that eventually, if you just stop paying on the subscription, she would sleep her way to the upper room. Okay, I didn't think he was gonna have some assistance with it. Okay, I didn't think that was gonna happen. And why did you take your mask off? Like, I understand you needed the money, but baby, it is not $1 they could have been able to pay me to take off my mask. Even if I was to do OF right now, when I tell you I am taking off all personal effects so I can't be identified, I am putting makeup on all my signature tattoos. I'm taking off my jewelry. I might put a wig on. I'm definitely talking in the accents, okay? I'm wearing a mask. Like, what? You can't pay me to take? No, I'm not taking my mask off. And then he ended up, even after he helped his wife, transcend, he still went downstairs in the basement, pulling more teeth out or doing whatever he is to, baby, sell the house. Sell the house. And that was the end of Common People. Episode 2, I believe it was called Petit Noir. Okay, it was French. Now, again, this is kind of something that I saw coming as well. I already knew before old girl said something that the black chick was bullied her. I didn't know what magnitude. I didn't know she started the rumor, but I knew she affected this girl in some type of way for her to show up. Especially if it's a nemesis, you haven't seen her in years, she came to your job, you seen the influence, and you think you going crazy, losing your mind, honey. Like, what? And then what was confusing to me was when you called the husband and the husband said he never heard of Blondie. Because Blondie was like, it took me 5 weeks to crack her. It took me less than a week to crack you. So the husband didn't know about Blondie. Did the old classmate not say anything to her husband about, didn't even mention her name? I mean, like, what? And then, not saying I wouldn't wish to be empress of the world or the universe or whatever she said, but it looked a little Game of Thrones-ish out there. Khaleesi, you look like Beyonce when she did that performance. You remember with the crown with the twins? You look like Beyonce in that part, but the scenery with all those people, baby, that look like straight Khaleesi. And I don't know if I would want to go back to that time and era in order to be an empress. I mean, can I just settle for maybe being the richest woman in the world, or the most influential when it comes to blah blah blah, or just maybe a nice multi-millionaire motivational speaker, just look, you could have got your job back in a CEO, CFO, some position. You could have been up there in the tower, girl. Like, no judgment. No judgment. I mean, how long you gonna just sit on the throne and eat grapes? I didn't see no chariot out there. I didn't see no land. Where was you gonna stay? In a tent? But okay, girl. No judgment. The third episode was Hotel Reverie. the hotel one with Issa Rae. Now, again, I got questions. Issa, you was really gonna stay in the movie? What's this? You was really gonna give up on your livelihood outside in the real world to stay in a black and white with no moving people? No nothing. Cause the background was a piece of paper. Remember, it was a piece of paper, and if you try to go in, it goes black. And I didn't see y'all eat. Did y'all eat? I seen some drinks in the piano, and you got a hotel bed, but what else? You was literally gonna do that, and then I doubt you could die. Like, was you even gonna grow old in the television? It just, what? If you was, your whole career, it didn't make no sense. And whether we was on a time clock or not, baby, they would have had to explain all that to me. And that was such a stupid mistake, of course, spilling the coffee, but that's how they had to keep that episode from. Baby, was it good to y'all? Because it was like kind of like one of the worst episodes to me, because you know what the worst was for me was episode 4, Plaything. I thought that was like next to this hotel one with Issa. Okay, it was 6 episodes. This one stink the most. The one I'm about to talk, Plaything, stink the most to me. And then number 5 would have been the one with the Issa. All right, so Plaything, let's talk about it. Guy, you think is Delulu, all right, because he gets arrested for trying to steal. It looked like a 40, like an OE. You know what I'm saying? No judgment. It looked like he trying to steal a little OE or something, and he get arrested, and basically he seems cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, talking about he's gonna overthrow the electronic system or something, and how he was getting high off acid, and how he can understand these little character birds that just be tweeting all day, and how they came up with a language, and he was asking for pen and paper the whole episode, and when they finally gave him pen and paper, and he did the little squiggly lines, like how that little maze area was on Alice in Wonderland. Okay, he did a little maze area on Alice in Wonderland on a piece of paper, showed it to the camera, and then the little tweets did shut down the system, and then sent an alert, and then everybody died except the cuckoo man on acid. Okay, and then episode 5. Now, episode 5, I thought this one was really, because I kind of called this one too, and it was like so sweet. It was really a tearjerker. The eulogy, okay? And I love that character. I cannot think of his name right now. Let me see. I can't think of it, but Paul, that's his name. Paul. Love him, okay? Watch him in Billions, absolutely incredible. And when he was doing the story about the woman that he loved, it was just so sweet. But my question, why are you mad? It's like them men be so mad. But you did the same thing. You cheated. She cheated, and it just resulted in a baby. And I get you and get the letter because you was just so more concerned with how you was feeling. You were so concerned with how you was feeling. You didn't even notice what was going on with sis. I knew she was pregnant before old girl even said it. But you saw that whole story. Of course, yeah, it was from your point of view, but it was very selfish, like most men are. And then for you to say, well, I don't know, I might have would have been there if I would have known about the baby. I probably would have gave out. Would you? Because a lot of men can do shit, but they can't take it. They would expect you to raise their offspring as your own, but let you try to, okay, mama's baby, daddy's maybe them. I can't do this. I can't believe you did that to me. Well, it's me type crap. But other than that, it really was like, it was a beautiful story. But I just wish they probably would have said a little bit more as far as her daughter, would have said a little bit more as far as her mother's point of view. Let me give you an example. When they were talking about that scene, I think it was a holiday party, and he was mad. He was at the bar because she was in a booth with somebody else. And the daughter was like, well, it looks like, you know, she's not having a good time. It looks like she's actually turned away. His breath stinks and blah. I wish we would have had a little bit more insight on how the mom felt, or his girlfriend, lover, or whatever felt as well. Like, yeah, we heard Paul's point of view, but I would have loved if she would have rebutted Paul and really told him, well, she told me based off the diary, this is how she felt in that moment, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I thought that episode was just absolutely incredible. I think that was like my favorite episode. Episode 5 was definitely my favorite episode in the season, and number 2 was Common People. I really, really like that, which leads to number 3, which is the USS Callister into Infinity. Now, I didn't see part 1. All right, I didn't see part 1, so I watched the recap or whatever, and I saw it with this. And you know what I loved most about this episode, no lie, is the fact that they kept throwing in Real Housewives of Atlanta. I thought that was too funny. Even how they was recapping the show, when he was like, who don't like who now, and who's sleeping with who. It was just like so funny, so real, so comical. I also, listen, I don't know none of their names, but I can say it was a good plot. It makes me curious to go watch the original episode of that episode, like part 1. So not the original part. So episode, like the part 1 of that episode, that's, you know what I mean. The prelude, huh? I need to go watch that one, okay? So I'm going to look it up. I think they said it's in season 4 or whatever. But what are y'all thoughts? Did y'all enjoy the season? I'm not going to lie. It makes me kind of want to watch some more episodes because I really enjoyed this season. And I didn't know it was like so star-studded. I didn't know it was kind of like one of those. And I'm like, why only 6 episodes? And then when I look, it's like about that for certain season. I believe even one season, it was only 3 episodes. I'm like, what? But anyways, did y'all enjoy it? Huh? Which episode was your favorite? Was it the eulogy too? Like, did you cry? Because it almost had me here. You know, it almost had me here. But anyways, that's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.